Hello and welcome, my friends. If you have ever felt that knot in your stomach when you needed to speak English, if you've ever found yourself searching for the right words, or if you simply dream of speaking English with absolute confidence, then you are in the perfect place today. I'm here to tell you that achieving English fluency and feeling completely relaxed and at ease when you speak is not just a dream. It is an entirely reachable goal. We are going to dive deep into the exact methods that have helped hundreds of my students around the world achieve their language targets, whether those targets were qualifying for a university, expanding a career, or emigrating to a new country like Canada or Australia. The goal of this comprehensive guide is simple: to help you speak English with confidence every single day. We will explore powerful techniques regarding mindset, memory, vocabulary building, and structured practice. So grab your notebook, bookmark this video, and get ready to transform the way you approach learning English. The key to unlocking your English potential lies not just in studying harder, but in studying smarter, using methods that put words and phrases directly into your permanent memory. We are going to cover 7 essential areas, including the vital role of motivation, practical ways to find time, how your brain learns best, the 3 areas that maximize fluency, my specialized L, R, L, and R method for vocabulary, and a concrete plan of action. Let's get started on your journey to speaking English with genuine confidence. Now, let's address one of the greatest roadblocks to confidence: the fear of making mistakes. This must be conquered through attitude. Here is the key: just start speaking and refuse to worry about mistakes. It is vital to laugh and have fun with the process. Language learning should be an enjoyable experience, even when you stumble over a word or mispronounce a phrase. If you are fortunate enough to speak with someone who already has a superior level of English proficiency, why not proactively address the topic of errors? You can try saying something like this: I am working intensely hard on improving my English right now, so please feel free to help me with my mistakes. I genuinely won't mind. This simple statement shifts the dynamic. It informs your partner that you are actively seeking correction and removes the pressure of judgment. The most important directive when practicing speech is this: speak without hesitating. Say the words and phrases exactly as they come to your mind, embracing the mistakes and all. Remember, these minor errors can and will be corrected as you continue your studies and practice. If I could leave you with one single paramount instruction regarding your mindset, it is this: speak at every single opportunity you get. The act of speaking is the foundation of fluency and confidence. Many of you, especially business professionals or those with busy lives, immediately think, I don't have the time. This brings us to section 2, finding time. The first concept you must embrace is a harsh truth: you cannot save time. It is impossible to take 1 hour and set it aside, saying, I'll save this for later. Time marches on regardless. The major concept you need to deeply understand is that what we can do is fundamentally change the way we use our time. Finding time for improving your English is only possible if you decide to stop doing or do less of something else entirely. Time is a zero-sum game in this context. So, you must ask yourself, what is truly most important to you? If achieving confidence and fluency in English is genuinely one of your top priorities, then you must make a conscious decision regarding which activities of lesser importance you are willing to stop doing or at least severely limit. Crucially, this necessary reuse of time does not need to be a permanent, overwhelming change. You can commit to a 10-day, 20-day, or 30-day plan during which you intentionally decide to watch fewer movies or limit the time you spend socializing or reduce your time browsing the internet. Instead of those activities, you dedicate 20, 30, or perhaps 60 minutes a day specifically to improving your English. It becomes significantly easier to implement and maintain these changes when you know they are only required for a clearly set time period. Once you have identified the time, the next step is to cultivate the action habit. The motto here is simple and powerful: just do it. Set a specific day and a specific time and begin. Do not fall into the trap of waiting for the mythical perfect moment to start. That moment rarely, if ever, arrives. Just start acting instead of wasting time getting ready to act. Picture yourself picking up the ball and running with it immediately. What happens on those days when you inevitably find yourself lacking motivation? This is where you must learn to start your mental engine mechanically. Do not sit around waiting for the mood to strike you. Instead, you take immediate action and your mood will quickly follow suit. Without conscious thought, switch on your computer or mobile device, load up an English learning program or resource, and force yourself to concentrate. As advised in The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz, you will soon find yourself immersed and in the mood. This is where self-discipline becomes your greatest asset in reaching your learning target. It's vital to understand what self-discipline truly is. The American writer Elbert Hubbard, 1856 to 1915, provided an excellent and timeless definition. Self-discipline is the ability to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Embracing this definition, doing the work even when the enthusiasm is low, is the definitive trait of successful language learners. Now we turn to Section 3, focusing on how we learn, drawing on recent decades of research into the brain. Understanding how your brain processes information will help you gain maximum results for your efforts in the minimal amount of time. We must look carefully at the map of the brain and specifically note the areas related to our senses of hearing and vision. The sources indicate that sight and sound are processed in distinctly different parts of the brain. Intriguingly, when we examine this brain map, we see that more of the brain's capacity is devoted to sound, the green area, than to sight, the pink area. In fact, the portion of the brain that is dedicated to storing the memory of sound actually touches more areas of the brain than any other sensory memory. What is the profound implication of this neurological reality for the English learner? It is this: you will improve your English with your ears. Therefore, if your objective is to significantly improve your English language skills, you must actively listen to English at every single opportunity you can find. The internet has made intensive English listening practice incredibly easy and accessible. You can utilize major news channels such as the BBC and commit to listening for just a few minutes every day. The BBC often provides specialized services designed specifically for learners, such as their 1-minute news, which summarizes the major headlines quickly, and their 6-minute English, which focuses on analyzing key words and phrases. Be sure to look for their podcast section, where you can easily download and subscribe to programs like 6-Minute English. Another monumental resource for enhancing your English is TED.com. I highly encourage you to use this site often. You will discover hundreds of concise talks, many lasting only 10 or 15 minutes, covering an expansive variety of engaging subjects. TED.com is also exceptionally learner-friendly because it contains tools like subtitles available in many different languages and, critically, a full transcript of the talk so you can simultaneously read along as you listen. For varied listening material, BBC Radio 4 and the World Service offer compelling talks and conversations on a wide array of topics. You have the option to download these podcasts directly onto your mobile device, allowing you to listen whenever a free moment arises, such as during commutes or downtime. If you ever encounter a new word and need to confirm its exact pronunciation, you have instant access to tools that will help you. The sources recommend thefreedictionary.com. Simply enter the word into the search box and you will see audio icons, often displaying the American and British flags, allowing you to hear both American English and British English pronunciations. For accessing hundreds of complete audiobooks covering both fiction and nonfiction, you can visit openculture.com. This site also impressively provides a selection of academic courses ranging from astronomy to history to psychology. This leads us to a crucial, powerful suggestion for advanced learners. If you decide to learn a new subject, develop a new skill, or take a formal course, do it entirely in English. By adopting this strategy, you accomplish two high-value goals simultaneously. You educate yourself on a topic you chose, and you drastically improve your English proficiency. One of the best online resources offering a vast number of free courses is Coursera.org. You can select from hundreds of free courses on an astonishing variety of subjects. Your motivation will be inherently high because you are learning a subject you are already interested in, and you are doing so while totally immersed in the English language. Just as sound takes up a major part of the brain's resources, a major portion of the brain is also dedicated to vision. Because of this, you can dramatically improve your English vocabulary by learning to associate vivid pictures with words. Consider this. When you listen to someone describing a particular experience or an object, your brain immediately and automatically begins creating mental images based on what you hear. In essence, you start to see what the speaker is talking about. This connection is so deeply ingrained in English culture that often, when one English speaker understands another, they will repeat the words, I see, meaning they comprehend or can visualize in their mind what the speaker is communicating. This cognitive connection allows for a fantastic learning technique. Instead of defaulting to a traditional written dictionary every time you check a new word, make a habit of using Google Images instead. This becomes your visual dictionary. Let's use an example mentioned in the sources. Suppose you encounter the phrase nuts and bolts and don't know what it means. Instead of looking up a text definition, go to Google Images, type in nuts and bolts, and instantly the results page will show you dozens of images of the physical objects, the screw and the fastener. The same method applies beautifully to abstract concepts. For example, if you search for the word disgust, the images returned will depict various facial expressions demonstrating revulsion or strong dislike. A mere 2-second glance at these powerful images helps you understand the essence of the word immediately. You can always return to a written dictionary definition later if you require a longer, more technical explanation, but the initial visual impact aids memory significantly. Therefore, prioritize making Google Images your primary visual dictionary. Next, we address the science of solidifying new information into memory. We must talk about repetition. Research pioneered by Dr. Paul Pimsleur, 1927 to 1976, conclusively demonstrated that repeating information at spaced intervals is profoundly important for moving that information into your long-term memory. His framework, known as graduated interval recall, outlines a specific schedule for reviewing new material, where the time gap between each repetition gradually extends. When you are trying to permanently remember new vocabulary, this spaced repetition method proves highly effective. Consider this schedule for remembering 5 new words learned on day 1. Repeat the words again the next day, day 2. Repeat them again after 3 days, day 5. Repeat them again after 7 days, day 12. Repeat them again after 14 days, day 26. Repeat them again after 30 days, day 56. Repeat them again after 60 days. Following a systematic process like this makes it highly unlikely that you will forget those words in the future. The underlying key to this technique is refreshing the memory just before your brain starts to forget the new information. This consistent refreshing of memory, occurring at increasingly longer intervals, creates a deep and lasting impression within the brain. This principle aligns perfectly with the work of Edward de Bono, a leading authority on thinking. In his book, Mechanism of Mind, de Bono compares the neural networks within the brain to physical paths or tracks. He explains that the more frequently information is revisited and repeated, the deeper the metaphorical track or pathway is created in your mind, making it far less likely that the information will be forgotten. Think of a physical path in the woods. If only 1 or 2 people walk it, the path is formed initially, but it will quickly grow over and disappear. However, if many people repeatedly follow the exact same route, a clear, unmistakable pathway is created that will remain visible and usable for a very long period. Repeated footsteps or repetitions create a lasting track. Therefore, when engaging in the learning of new vocabulary, you must be absolutely sure to repeat and repeat over a period of weeks and months. To help you manage this crucial spaced repetition, the sources highly recommend an excellent technological aid, the Anki flashcard program. You can download this intelligent flashcard system for free. After you install the computer version of Anki, you can also obtain the free companion Anki web service. This service allows you to access all your word lists and notes online directly from your mobile device. This setup is ideal for profitably using time that would otherwise be wasted, such as when you are waiting in line or traveling on public transport. Anki ensures your valuable learning process continues even during small pockets of time. Now, let's turn to a very important and potentially counterintuitive subject, grammar. Years ago, while attending a course for advanced learning techniques in Canada, David F. James heard a statement that made a lasting impression. It was this powerful declaration: "The very process of teaching grammar prevents a student from learning it." Let us explore precisely what this means, especially for those seeking confidence and fluency. Consider this example sentence. Incorrect sentence: he arrived at the party wearing his blue old jeans. Correct sentence: he arrived at the party wearing his old blue jeans. Why is the first sentence incorrect in standard English? It is incorrect because of a complex, often confusing rule regarding the required sequence of adjectives. The rule dictates that adjectives must be used in a highly specific mandated order: quantity, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose. In our example, notice that age, 4, must be placed structurally before color, 6. Consequently, when describing the jeans, the correct construction must be old blue jeans and not blue old jeans. Now, visualize what actually happens in a real-time conversation when you are trying to spontaneously mention two adjectives together. Your brain immediately tries to remember that intricate rule. What is the instantaneous result of this mental effort? Your conversation comes to an immediate stop. After potentially many seconds of awkward hesitation, and after your mind has performed mental gymnastics attempting to recall the correct order of those 9 categories, is it age before color or color before age, you might eventually be able to continue your conversation. However, your confidence is shattered and your hard-won fluency severely suffers. So, what is the demonstrably better, more natural method for achieving fluency and correct grammar usage? The better way is to learn from constantly listening to English. You should hear sentence examples repeated over and over again until your brain develops a profound sense or intrinsic feel for what simply sounds right. This process is comparable to music. If you listen to a well-known piece of music, you will instantly recognize if a musician plays a wrong note. Why? Because it doesn't sound right. Similarly, the phrase blue old jeans will eventually stop sounding right to your trained ear. By committing to keeping up your repetition, listening, and continuous practice of English, you will naturally develop an instinct for what is grammatically correct. You will then naturally begin to speak or write the words in the necessary correct sequence. This same principle of listening for the sense applies equally to mastering tenses. Instead of attempting to identify every single tense with its specific label, and instead of mentally struggling through a complex exercise like, I need to use the present perfect continuous tense here, you should instead focus on identifying the idea you want to express and then trusting what sounds right. For example, do you wish to describe an action or state that commenced in the past but have not yet concluded? If you rely on your developed sense of the language, you would correctly state, we have been waiting to give our order to the waiter for the last 20 minutes. This sentence technically is an example of the present continuous tense, but the beautiful thing is that you truly don't need to know that technical label. Just grasp the core idea you are conveying and rely on your sense and feel for what sounds instinctively correct. This reliance on instinct, built through immense listening and repetition, is the pathway to conversational flow and natural confidence. Let's move on to Section 4, Fluency. Many of the students I have taught often lack confidence specifically due to a lack of fluency. Their speech is frequently punctuated by long, disruptive pauses or by distracting word fillers like or Sometimes fluency suffers from self-corrections, where the speaker says something, immediately realizes they used the wrong word or tense, and then goes back to fix it. Overcoming these interruptions is key to gaining confidence. Most of the time, the problem areas that hinder natural speech revolve around three main grammatical and lexical areas: the definite and indefinite article, a, an, the; high-frequency words, the little words; tenses. We must focus on these three areas intensely. 1. The definite and indefinite article, a, an, or the. Deciding when to use a, an, or the can be genuinely confusing for a student learning English. Fortunately, English teachers have managed to simplify this complexity. Furthermore, you can integrate practice with articles into your routine by creating your own close exercises. This involves taking an existing English text and systematically deleting all instances of the three words, a, an, and the. 2. High-frequency words. Fluency is dramatically affected by your familiarity with the most common words in the language. Consider the sheer statistical importance of these words. The following 9 words alone constitute a remarkable 33% of all spoken English: the, 6.0%, of, 5.5%, and, 5.0%, to, 4.5%, in, 3.75%, a, or an, 3.25%, that, 2.75%, is, 2.25%, total, 33.00%. If you expand your focus slightly, the following 100 words, the highest frequency words, make up a massive 50% of all conversation. Becoming confident and fluent using just these 100 words will immediately propel your speaking skills forward. A highly effective and quick pathway to improving fluency, therefore, is to first achieve complete confidence using those crucial first 9 words, and then gradually expanding that mastery to encompass the first 100 words. How do we achieve this quick mastery? By using cloze tests, also frequently known as cloze deletion tests. Cloze exercises are simple yet scientifically powerful. They consist of a piece of text where specific words have been strategically removed. The student's task is then to logically replace the missing word based on context and grammar. The term cloze actually originates from the concept of closure in Gestalt theory. A central principle of Gestalt psychology posits that the human mind naturally strives to form a whole entity when it is presented with something that is incomplete. By engaging in repeated cloze tests or exercises, the English learner's mind is consistently challenged to make incomplete sentences whole again, specifically forcing the use of the correct preposition, article, or high-frequency word. This continuous effort reinforces the correct usage patterns. The best part is that you can very easily create your own personalized cloze exercises. Here is the simple, step-by-step process recommended by the sources. Step 1. Select your text. Select a passage of text from any English website, article, or document that interests you and copy that text into a word processing program, such as Microsoft Word. Step 2. Create a copy. Make a duplicate of the original text. Keep the original copy untouched. This will serve as your answer key. Step 3. Delete the focus words. Utilize the Search and Replace tool within your word processor. Use this tool to replace the target words, specifically the definite and indefinite articles, the, a, and the high-frequency little words, to, in, at, on, etc., with a blank space or an underscore line. Step 4. Fill in the blanks. Now, attempt to complete the exercise by filling in the blanks on your modified copy. Trust your developing sense of the language and write in the word you feel should logically be there. Step 5. Check and correct. Finally, compare your filled-in copy against the original text. Make a clear note of any errors you made. This straightforward, self-created exercise will quickly and greatly increase your confidence when using those critical little words like to, at, in, and on. 3. Tenses. Mastering the correct usage of tenses, both when speaking and when writing, often presents the greatest overall challenge to achieving consistent fluency. While the English language technically possesses a substantial number of different tenses, the good news is that you only truly need to master about 6 core tenses to speak fluent English effectively. The sources suggest that if you need a thorough tutorial on verb tenses, complete with many practice exercises, you should explore the resources available at http://englishpage.com/verb/verb-tense-intro.html. To bring this section on fluency to a sharp conclusion, remember that maximizing your fluency requires consistent focus on these three main areas: the definite and indefinite articles, a and the little words, which includes prepositions and the high-frequency words, the tenses. You must practice these concepts relentlessly until you are able to use them without any form of hesitation. When you reach this level of automaticity, you will immediately notice a huge, undeniable improvement in your fluency, which naturally results in a huge surge in your overall confidence. Section 5 is dedicated to the critical task of building vocabulary. It's an interesting question. Exactly how many words are there in the English language? According to the Global Language Monitor, the number officially surpassed the 1 million mark on June 10, 2009. However, the Oxford English Dictionary, OED, website explains that definitively answering this question is impossible, as the count depends entirely on what criteria you use to define a word. For example, do you count a word that has 4 different meanings as one word or as 4 separate words? And what about words adopted from other languages, such as French words used in cooking or Japanese words used in martial arts? The OED, which offers full entries, currently contains over 170,000 words in current active use, and this immense count does not even include highly specialized technical vocabulary. Here is the genuinely encouraging news. Thankfully, you only need to know a very small fraction of those words to be able to speak English with confidence. Some language researchers estimate that if you possess a working vocabulary of just 800 words, you can successfully make yourself understood well in English. However, to provide a more realistic context, estimates derived from participants on the vocabulary test site, Test Your Vocab, show that the majority of native English speakers fall within the range of knowing 20,000 to 35,000 words. For non-native speakers or those actively learning English, the most common vocabulary range is significantly lower, falling between 2,500 and 9,000 words. This gives you a clear target range to aim for. To help you prioritize your learning, the sources recommend authoritative word lists. The Oxford 3000 is a meticulously compiled list of 3,000 words. This list was created collaboratively by experienced language teachers and experts who firmly believe that these specific words should receive the highest priority because of their proven importance and general usefulness in communication. You should view and bookmark the Oxford 3000 word list as a core resource. For an even easier starting point, you can utilize the top 1,000 list prepared by the excellent site vocabulary.com. This website provides fantastic, focused help for developing and expanding your vocabulary. Vocabulary.com is also an outstanding resource for easily obtaining clear definitions of words and, importantly, for reading real-world sentence examples. If you enter a word into the search box at the top of their page, be sure to look at the Usage Examples section. This section provides current, authentic examples of how the word is used in various contexts and sources. The most important step, regardless of the resource you choose, is simple. Make a firm decision to start building your vocabulary today. The undeniable reality is this: the larger and more robust your vocabulary becomes, the more naturally confident you will feel when you are required to speak English. Recognition versus active vocabulary. Understanding the process of vocabulary acquisition is vital. We generally move through 2 distinct steps when learning new words. Step 1. Recognition vocabulary. In this initial step, you encounter a new word. Perhaps you see it written or hear it spoken, and you discover its basic meaning. At this stage, the word becomes part of your recognition vocabulary. When you hear or read the word, you can generally understand the meaning of the sentence it is within. However, the critical distinction here is that you are not yet spontaneously using this word in your own conversations. Step 2. Active vocabulary. The word then successfully moves from your recognition vocabulary into your active vocabulary. This transition happens after you have encountered, seen, or read the word a sufficient number of times. Once this repetition occurs, you start to feel increasingly comfortable and familiar with the word. Consequently, it begins to enter your own conversation naturally and easily, coming to mind without effort when you are speaking. At this stage, you truly own that word. Here is a practical suggestion to help you track this progress. First, get a reliable estimate of your current vocabulary size by taking the test provided at testyourvocab.com. Next, commit the following 1 or 2 months to intensively using tools like the vocabulary.com Top 1000 list to systematically learn new words. After that focused period, take the Test Your Vocab test again and objectively note the measurable improvement. You will likely see that your recognition vocabulary has begun to significantly improve, which is an extremely important first step. Once those new words are firmly established in your recognition vocabulary, they are primed to move into your active vocabulary once you repeatedly see or hear them in context. Now, I offer a crucial, paramount tip for vocabulary expansion. When you are learning new words, you must avoid learning those words in solitary lists by themselves. Instead, you should consistently strive to learn the word as an integral part of a phrase. This contextual learning allows you to instantly see and understand how to use the word naturally and correctly. For example, when inputting new vocabulary into a program like Anki flashcards, do not simply enter a single word like petrified. Rather, always connect it with another word and create a usable phrase, such as petrified of spiders. Similarly, don't just learn the word condone in isolation. Learn the natural phrase condone violence. If possible, link that phrase directly to a corresponding graphic or photo for enhanced memory retention. If you utilize vocabulary.com, make it a point to pay special, deep attention to those usage examples that we discussed. Seeing those examples ensures you understand precisely how the word is naturally and currently employed in complete sentences. We now turn to Section 7, Practice. You need practice, and you need a lot of it. We will cover 2 complementary ways to practice your English skills. 1. Talking to yourself. It is likely impractical for you to practice with a native speaker every single day. However, you absolutely can commit to talking to yourself in English for at least 5 minutes every day. This is best done when you are in private, such as while taking a shower, driving to work, or during any other small window of 5 minutes when you are alone. What should you talk about during this time? Choose something simple to describe, such as a movie or TV program you watched recently. You could recount the events of yesterday or discuss your firm plans and scheduled activities for today. The essential point is to just speak. Do not worry about absolute accuracy or avoiding mistakes during this solo practice. 2. Finding a native English-speaking conversation partner. To extract the greatest possible benefit from your practice, you must eventually integrate the input of a native English speaker. You should aim to book a lesson with an online teacher once or twice a week, placing the entire emphasis of that lesson squarely on conversation and speaking. You can easily search websites like buddyschool.com and italki.com to find English conversation partners, often available at very inexpensive rates. Be highly selective in your choice of teacher. You should try 1 or 2 free trial lessons before committing. You need a teacher who will listen patiently for the majority of the time, providing you with ample opportunity to speak. Critically, the ideal teacher will offer correction after you have finished speaking, ensuring they do not interrupt the natural flow of your thought and speech. You can easily choose a topic for discussion from resources such as esldiscussions.com. If you click on a subject there, you will find a list of questions that your teacher can use as a structure or basis for your conversation. The ultimate message of this section is vital: practice, 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 both alone and with a native speaker. When you maintain this dedication, your confidence level will regularly reach impressive new plateaus. You now possess all the main strategies necessary for speaking English with confidence. It is time to condense this knowledge into a practical plan of action. Step 1. Decide on time and duration. First, you must commit to exactly how much time you will spend each day actively improving your English. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Then, decide on the total duration of your focused plan. Will it be a 10-day, 20-day, or 30-day plan? Remember the power of the plateau principle. Step 2. Select a variety of activities. Use the wealth of tools and methods we have discussed. You must deliberately mix up your activities to ensure you never get bored. For instance, you might dedicate some time every day to vocabulary.com, or perhaps alternate between one day on vocabulary.com and the next day on BBC 6-Minute English. Every third or fourth day, you might spend time practicing tenses with a tutorial, or decide to listen deeply to a TED Talk. Mixing these activities ensures constant engagement. As you move through these varied activities, you will constantly discover new words. Whenever you find a new word, create or copy a relevant phrase that uses that word and make a written note. Immediately add them to your Anki flashcard program or input them into your personal word list on vocabulary.com. For enrichment, check for synonyms and antonyms using a resource like thesaurus.com. You must be active in your learning, jump in with full enthusiasm, and strive to create an energetic, fast-moving learning session every time. Within a remarkably short period, you will begin to recognize certain words that reappear in a variety of different places. For instance, you might learn a sophisticated new word through vocabulary.com, and then, a short time later, you might see that exact same word used in a BBC 6-Minute English transcript, or you might hear a speaker on TED.com use it naturally in their presentation. This natural reinforcement is incredibly motivating. You will truly be amazed at how quickly and efficiently your brain will start to absorb the pattern of the language. This absorption means you won't have to pause and laboriously think about complex grammar rules anymore. You will begin to develop that highly sought-after sense or a feel for what sounds right. And because of this, your English will start to effortlessly flow. English is truly a fascinating and rewarding language to master. Focus on achieving great personal satisfaction from the simple act of thinking and expressing yourself clearly in English. When you make this your primary focus, your other larger professional goals in business, in your career development, or in university qualifications will naturally and inevitably follow. It is my deepest pleasure to help and fully support you in your vital mission of developing a powerful English vocabulary and achieving the capacity to speak English with unshakable confidence. Remember, you can speak English with full confidence.